We're at the Mopar Euro Nationals with the Pro Mods for round 4 of the 2017 MSA Drag Racing Championship. With 13 cars entered this weekend and several brand new machines out for the first time, looks like being an interesting event to say the least. One new car is that of Eric Monsonego from France with the Plymouth Cuda. The car made its first test passes at the recent Dragstalgia event.
It's a long story. I first bought this car downtown Paris in 1984. I first met my wife in this car. I was street driving this car for 4 or 5 years downtown Paris, slowly modifying this car to something like a pro street. And when it was too far from the street, I started to convert it to a super gas car. I went to Andy Robinson shop to build my first chassis tube car with a 572 B1 Kiss Black engine. It was very successful, so my best time was 8:03. It was a very easy car to drive, so easy it was boring, and I decided to go pro mod. It was my dream. It's still the same body because I still have my steel roof, steel quarters, steel back.
Well, Eric was out testing the day before this event after putting in some really strong runs back at Dragstalgia. But we think the team have found problems and not sure if they'll make it out in time again to qualify. Jean Delemont also tested on the Friday and unfortunately suffered major engine damage. So as we go into qualifying, the news is that Chris Isaacs won't be competing this weekend as he was involved in a road accident last night, and Kev Slyfield has also had to withdraw due to injury. So on with qualifying. First pair out from the Netherlands. Side by side, Michel Turenne and Mark Hartvelt. Two utterly beautifully turned out cars with actually pretty much the same engine combination under there. Post and Drost, the company out in the Netherlands, build a lot of engines and heads and things like that for tractor pulling. Believe it or not, the technology in these cars has been heavily tested in the tractor pullers. Let's see what it does on the quarter mile. Well, lots of tyre shake and pedalling going on for Mark Hartvelt. 669, 225 for Michel Turenne. And Michel's actually back after some pretty heavy engine damage at the FIA round in Sweden recently. So, Mick Payne alongside Wayne Nicholson with the Lucky Devil. Strong launch for Mick. Big problems for Wayne. Lots of smoke in the car. Don't think you can see where he's going, to be honest with you. Spins out and slightly tags the wall. I'm sure Wayne's absolutely A-OK. The track crew running over there just to make sure he is. The car's stopped with lots and lots of smoke coming out there. I can only think something let go to fill the car with all that smoke. Bert Englefield and Marco Mariochat. Now, Marco was really ruining the British weather back at the Summer Nationals, the last round of the MSA Championship. And he was actually set to be in the final with lane choice, but unfortunately the weather got the better of us that weekend. Back to try again, on and off the throttle, off the start line. Bert Englefield, no trouble at all for the hot rod blast through with a 638 at 223, a 680 for Marco. I did say back at Easter, I think these two are going to be butting heads all summer, and here they are again, out in the last pair. Bobby Wallace with the nitrous big inch Willis, taking on Andy Gus Robinson with the anger management Camaro. Lots of shake for Andy. Nice consistent run for Bobby. Pulls a chute before the finish line, goes 669. Andy, though, with all the pedalling, still goes 637, and he took the #1 spot. And finally, made it to the racetrack, the brand new Mustang of John Webster that we saw in Webster Race Engineering some months ago.
Today we just got to do some config and systems checks. The new ECU is quite complex, so it may take some time, and that's if it all goes to plan. So, but maybe today we might get a launch or a little bit of track time, but ultimately we should be on track tomorrow. It's something that I've aspired to do since the late 80s, so yeah, been a long time coming, and the other stuff that we've done was exciting, but ultimately this was kind of really what I wanted to do. Excited and a bit of trepidation, you know, normal sort of, you know, sort of doubts and if buts and maybes, but yeah, we're looking forward to it nevertheless.
So first time out for John, and you wouldn't know it, judging by that burnout. Going to pull it up to the start line. That thing is absolutely beautiful. Builds up the boost, but I don't think his time will stand as he waited on the line for quite some time there. Nevertheless, a good first checkout pass for that beautiful Mustang. So, with the event in full flow, one Mopar Euronats regular is Chris Orthodoxou, and he's just upgraded his already beautiful Viper to Pro Mod.
As you can see, I've got a whole new engine, drivetrain, axle, body's been modified, carbon fibre body's been made. Very first time out this weekend, so I'm here to do licensing runs, get myself accustomed with the car, because I've got about 3,000 horsepower now, so it's going to be a bit lively.
So Chris is only testing this weekend, but another great car to look out for in future Pro Mod events. And on to qualifying session number 2. It's the Dutch duo once again, Michel Turenne and Mark Hartveld. Mark had a bit of a problematic first round, Michel in the mid-60s. No trouble at all for Mark Hartveld that time around. Problems for Michel, but Mark Hartveld blasts through with a 6:17 at 2:34, number 1 qualifier, and new personal best speed as well for the Dutch team. They are very happy indeed. Mick Payne, semi-finalist from the last round. On and off the throttle a little bit, pulls the chutes way early. Not quite sure that was. It looks like a bit of body work actually from there. And these two matched up in round before as well. Marco Mariochat from Germany and Bert Engelfield. Bert put down a really strong run in Q1. Looks like he's on another one again. Problems again with tyre shake for Marco off the start line. Bert goes 6:25 at 2:24. That thing's deadly consistent. So Bobby Wallace, Andy Robinson. Both looking for stronger runs in this qualifying session, and they both get it. Andy goes to number 2 with the 6:23, and Mark Hartveld took over the number 1 spot.
Yeah, 6:17. Yeah, we're very pleased how the car's going. The setup that we now have in the car, yeah, everything we changed, it works. So with the setup we have now, it's a little bit going faster and faster. So yeah, hopefully it work out. Mopars is always what we like, and it's you know, everything is great and a lot of Mopars, so that's what we like.
Did you think maybe 5 or 10 years ago, when you used to come along with, they weren't slow cars, but with a fast street car, that you'd ever be driving something like this?
No, never. Yeah, I always thought about it, but yeah, you know, you were in another position. And
So, the last qualifying runs of the day. 3 sessions. Marco Mariochat and Michel Turenne looking to make their quickest runs of the weekend. Marco skittles the blocks, goes 6:30, 6:45 for Michel. Bobby Wallace taking on Bert Engelfield, not Andy Robinson. There's a shot. 2 strong runs once again for the pair of them, both in the 6:2, 6:24 for Bobby and 6:29 for Bert. So Andy Robinson taking on Mark Hartveld, a very happy sounding Mark Hartveld as well with the Voodoo Hemi. The NGK Angel Management Camaro has been a little quiet in qualifying so far, but not on this run. takes the number 1 spot with a 6:15, 2:35. All Mark Hartvelt can do is watch and see his number 1 spot disappear. And let's get some words from Andy Robinson's son, integral part of the team and crew chief as well, I think, Luke Robinson.
Yeah, we're getting there with the setup, but we've changed a lot of parts over the winter in terms of engine, blower, fuel system and also suspension, and we're starting to get a handle on it now. Also, the track's been a little bit changeable because we've had such extremes of weather this year. We've had track temperatures from 60 degrees Fahrenheit right up to 125, so it's been a real challenge to adapt to that. But I think we're getting there now.
You see someone like Mark going out and doing a 6-1, I think, in the second qualifier. Does that make you think, well, we want that number 1 spot, we're going to have to throw everything at it, or do you just think, well, if we don't get it, we don't get it?
To be honest, in qualifying, we're just going for gold every single run. You know, we don't get enough runs in this country to not go flat out every single time. So we're literally shooting for the stars every time we pull around to the start line.
When we talk to the driver, when we talk to Andy, we say, is it down to the driver, is it down to the tune? He says, oh, I'm just a passenger, I don't know what's happening. But then you see on runs like that, when they get severe tyre shake, they do the right thing, get out of it. So is it 50-50 or is it more one than the other?
To be honest, you've got to have an equal balance of both driver and tune-up. You know, if you haven't got one, then the other's useless. And we're still very much a driver's class. You know, the cars are manually shifted. They're clutches. Some of them are autos, but they're still all manually shifted. And if you haven't got that feeling, and if you don't hit those shift points absolutely spot on, then it has such a negative effect on the tune-up that it doesn't matter if you're the best tuner in the world. If you haven't got a driver, the car won't make it.
So this is the Eliminations ladder. Going to be some very exciting matchups in round 1. So the crowd waiting eagerly for the first round matchups. The first one is Bert Englefield and Marco Marioshat. Now both of these two were very evenly matched in their qualifying numbers. Bert in the 6.2s, Marco in the 6.3s. However, Marco, back just a few weeks ago at the Summer Nationals, was in the 6.2s every run. He could do it again at any point. But Bert with the hot rod has been the consistent one so far here this weekend. So the crew doing last minute checks. Marco goes red. You could clearly see actually that was a red light. He went way before Bert did. 6.28 at 2.27, but he throws it away with a cherry on the tree. Bert with instant problems off the start line. That was a lucky one. So the ever-improving, once again, Michel Turenne. Like I said before, they had horrendous engine damage, just grenaded everything pretty much from the blower downwards back at Dieppe a couple of months ago. Worked very, very hard indeed to get everything back together. And it's good to see them back here at the Mopar Euro Nationals to compete in the MSA Championship. Bobby Wallace and his team really come on strong so far in 2017. That's his sister Annie adjusting the wheelie bars just to make sure the car launches perfectly. Bobby sitting in the car purges the nitrous. That's the smoke you saw coming out the top. And everybody making sure that the cars are lined up absolutely perfectly on the start line. And he brings Bobby into stage. Michel right behind him. And it's Bobby with a hole shot off the start line. A clear hole shot as well, but Michel's trying to run him down at the finish line by about that much. Bobby Wallace, 6.34, takes out a 6.25. And I've got to say, if we look at the numbers on that, there was a hair's breadth between the pair of them at the finish line. I think the crowd enjoyed that one. Mark Hartvelt taking on Mick Payne. Mark was the number 2 qualifier, a really, really good time in qualifying, apart from the last qualifying run, obviously, where he didn't make it down the racetrack. However, this is a brand new car to him and the team. Looking for big things through the rest of the year. Mick Payne from down there in Kent. Almost off the start line together. Mark pedals it and legs it on through to a 6.65. Mick gets out of it early and he'll be out before the semi-finals. Okay, we've got all of our semi-finals set, and the reason I say that is because Andy Robinson with the Anger Management NGK Camaro will be on a solo run. There are a bunch more cars here this weekend. However, none of them made qualifying runs that either stood or didn't make it out of testing. So Andy only needs to take the green light. Well, whatever that was, he's looking very inquisitively at the transmission. Something let go almost instantly off the start line. So, good job, that was a freebie for Andy Robinson. Yeah, there we go. Stopped almost instantly, unfortunately. Wayne Nicholson, unfortunately, one of the guys that didn't make it into eliminations, put in a test pass at the end of round 1. Well, just such a shame for Wayne and the team that wasn't in Q1, 2 or 3, because he would have been well in the field of the 649 at 2:16. Congratulations to them. So with the show and shine in full flow, it's soon time for the semi-finals. Andy Robinson taking on Bert Englefield. These two were numbers 1 and 2 in the championship last year. Andy and the crew, I think, with a lot of work between rounds to fix whatever the problem was. But they didn't need to worry. Bert goes red on the tree by only 1/100th of a second. Andy takes what for him will go down as a lucky win, actually. You can see again the onboard replay. Bert's way out in front, but it was an ill-gotten gain. He did have a quicker elapsed time as well, unfortunately for them. So, Andy's in the final, and it's going to be Mark Hartvelt or Bobby Wallace. There's a shot. Taking Andy on in the final. Bobby gets to jump off the start line, but Mark Hartvelt is dead even as they go past the tree. And by a car length or so, it is Mark Hartvelt with low ET of the weekend at 6:11, 2:34. Bobby with a really good try at 6:32, 2:18. So the finals with rain expected shortly. It was a mad rush to get the cars turned round in time.
Yeah, looking very good. Great,
6-0s this time?
Yeah, we hope so. We go for it. What a weekend, man.
Hurry up, guys. That rain is less than 5 minutes away.
Yeah, good luck, man. Have a good race.
All looking good for the final, Andy?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's been interesting. Mark's quick, so we'll have to wait and see.
6-0s we need now.
No, just need you faster than Mark.
Well, even after all that hard work, both drivers still time for a couple of words for the TV crew, and both still looking very jovial and very happy with life as well. But then they're in the final. They're running for the big trophy. Why wouldn't they be? Andy Robinson hasn't had his normal clockwork weekend with the NGK Anger Management Camaro. Mark Hartvelt been on kind of a tear with the new car. This could well be the race of the day. Andy Robinson gets the jump off the start line. You can see he's got half a car on Mark, but by the time they go past the Christmas tree and over the stripe, he has a whole car length. Unbelievable race. 6:14 takes out a 6:12.
Yeah, well, I think I actually said that I just need to run faster than Mark, but I didn't actually quite run faster than him, but I just treed him on the line instead. But we did what we had to do, and the crew worked really hard. It's been a tricky weekend for us. The track's been way better, so it's all good.
And a look at that final on board in Andy's car. And such a shame that the previous number 2 in the points, Kev Slifield, couldn't make it out to this event.
Yeah, that's a shame really, because we like racing Kev, and it was a bit of a shock actually on Friday when I found out that he wasn't going to be here. So we hope he gets better soon, and I'm sure he'll be back out again at the finals and the national finals and give us a hard race again.
So Andy moves into a stronger lead in the points, but there are still 2 rounds to go. Join us at round 5 at the FIA and FIM European finals in September.